Now I know you guys were enjoying that music, bro. I know you guys were. Welcome to Wolf Web 3. Talking about gaming today. Super excited to get into it. Want to say a huge thank you to everyone on stage, everyone who's joining us in the space today. I see Andrew, Fiddy, Justin, Ice, Pickle Rick, Shaolin. I see Zed up here. Really excited to get into this conversation. Got a bunch of gamers up here, dude. Got a bunch of gamers out here. I think in the past we had a bunch of talks, maybe about gaming more than like in gaming, if that makes sense. That doesn't make really sense, but I'm really excited to see kind of what games everyone's talking about. The gaming world, it's super cyclical. Sometimes it's in. You can make a space called Web3 Gaming and 1,000 people pop in 6 seconds because there's that much to talk about, and sometimes there's not. And that's why I was like, you know what, we need to get gamers in here. Gaming is going to be a huge meta. I'm sure you guys have seen, Elliot Trades, Alex Becker. They've pretty much staked their everything in crypto on some of these games, these specific games, whether it's Super Farm or Neo Tokyo. I know there's a whole host of things that are going on in the space. So we'd love to go around just the circle here. We'd love to keep this open format. We're going to do kind of a roundtable discussion. So don't really need to do hands. Just chime in if someone's saying something. If I'm rambling, throw up a hand or just jump in. But I would love to kind of go around the table here and just do a quick little who are you? Who are you? What do you do? And then maybe if there's something that's coming up in the gaming world or a specific game you're interested in, let us know super quick. And then maybe we'll have some things to bounce off of each other. So I'll go off. I'll start with William. I see him up here. Will, go to you first. How are you?
Dude, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry if it's really loud. I'm driving right now, but I'm almost home. Thank goodness. But yeah, no, I'm super pumped to be here. First off, thank you so much for hosting this, Wolf. You guys are always killing it with all the different topics you guys host in Web3 and whatnot. Man, it's insane. So definitely love doing that. But yeah, my name is William. I'm really deeply involved in. If everyone's actually heard me keep shouting the terms RWA and DPIN. Yeah, I literally just that's all I talk about nowadays. I feel like. But for those that don't know, I am a huge gaming enthusiast. I've been a gamer for like 2 decades now, probably more than that. And just I've just loved video games, man. So Web3 gaming, of course, catches my eye. I would say the game I'm most excited for, and there's no surprise there, is Shrapnel. Which, if no one knows, their STX3 event is actually starting tomorrow on Thursday around I think 11 a.m. PST. So definitely check that out. But yeah, super pumped for Shrapnel. Can't wait to see what we're all talking about, man. Thank you so much.
Let's get it. I know some people are out here excited about Shrapnel. Zed, I'll go over to you, man. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Yo, thank you, Kate, my man. What's good and what is up, everybody? GMGAGN. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? My name is Zet, aka MetaZet, because if you met me, you met a Zet. And this is an honor to be here with such legends today talking about gaming. Honestly, this is goated, this space right here. If I look around, I look at some of these people I look up to and call friends and brothers. So I'm just stoked to talk about gaming. And Kate, I want to give you flowers real quick. You've been killing it and doing a bang up job. And same with Wolf. Wolf is just crushing it. So it is such an honor to be asked to be here as a guest and just share any opinions and have a good time. Because you know what? I'm not going to lie. Vibes are at an all-time high. Am I right?
Bro, you're absolutely right. You just raised the vibes of this room by 75% as soon as you hopped on. Man, super stoked to have you. By the way, is there any games you're super excited about they wanted to drop before we kind of dive into it and go around the rest of the room?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely stoked for Shrapnel STX tomorrow. Can't wait to check that out. Full disclosure here, this might come off as a chill or as a bag bias pump, but definitely got to shout out my pet hooligan, all of my Hooli fam. Carrot Coin. I'm actually on the soundtrack. I'm a musician, so I'm in there. I'm in that game. I'm in there like swimwear. And so I definitely got to shout out my pet hooligan, which I don't think is too far removed to put them up on the pedestal they belong on. They're just killing it.
Let's go, dude. Let's go. Andrew, over to you, man. How are you?
Dude, I love that energy. GM, I say now. They forced me to start saying it here in Web3. So, just quick background on me. I've been marketing here in Web3 gaming for close to 4 years. I was the host and executive producer at Illuvium, did all their marketing for years. And I formed a marketing agency that is specializing in Web3, particularly Web3 gaming, not corrupt media. We currently work with Lizard Labs, and we've done work for Gods Unchained and for Thrive on Mars and various other Web3 games. And I love this space. I spent over a decade marketing Web2 games with Blizzard Entertainment and every major gaming company there was there. And I'm trying to bring all the stuff that I learned last decade with, let's say, the previous generation of games marketing to Web3 gaming. And really excited that we're now putting together a Web3 gaming talent agency as well, since the influencers in the space are even more important than they were in the Web2 gaming space. It's a huge component to the success of Web3 gaming, especially given how small and niche the space is right now. Right now, the game I've literally just installed it on my computer. I'm about to play a bunch of it tonight is Oh Baby Cart. Web3 game coming up. They don't have the blockchain elements in this game yet, but they're doing a really polished, super fun Mario Kart level game that's currently available, I believe, on Steam. About to play that bad boy tonight. So some really quality stuff coming up in the space. Thanks for having me.
Dude, absolutely, absolutely. Throw it over to Nix. Good to have you, Nix. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Can you guys hear me okay? I've been it's raining here right now.
Loud and
Okay,
clear.
cool. I know I'm gonna get rugged. I just know it.
Oh, I'm gonna get rugged too, for sure. If every single person on stage doesn't get rugged, we didn't do our job.
Oh, it's been an all week thing for me, man. I would love to have like a few days of not having to like jump on and off of a space. But hey, I'm Nix. I've been in the Web3 space for a while. Right now, I'm working with NeoLaunch. We're a Web3 crowdfunding incubation. A lot of our team originally came from Chain Games and Chain Boost, so we have and typically launch a lot of Web3 gaming projects. Right now, I'm really like just trying to dissect what are people, finding are like the best adoption techniques for Web3 gaming. Like right now, I'm sort of one of my case studies right now is going through not coin as I was reading something on I think it was CoinDesk about how they just really took over like Telegram and just found this avenue to sort of like you know I don't know how much, like, I believe like 30% or something. I don't know if that's right, of people in Web3 gaming are connected to the Telegram group in there. So that's exciting. Interested in if anybody has any thoughts on that. But sorry, I also came in a little bit late. I'm not sure. Are we doing intros? Am I supposed to talk about anything else, Cade? So sorry.
No, all good, all good. No, we're just running around the circle, and we'll keep these short because I definitely want to dive deeper into it. So I don't want the intros to go on too long. So we'll just do like for the rest of the people, it's like 20 seconds, just to keep it shorter, keep it around the mill, and then we'll dive into some of the main topics, some of the main games here. But I'll go over to Pickle Rick. I know you're friends with Zet. Super excited to chat with you.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, appreciate you and Zet for, sending the invite over. A lot of people know me from like hosting Twitter Spaces over at Llamaverse back in the day and business relations manager. Currently working over at Expedition Labs as a Twitter Space host and, marketing strategist slash business relations manager there. And some of the, games that I got my eye on, of course, we already said Shrapnel, but, really been keeping my eye on like some of the more OG projects like Spellborn and Kuroro Beasts, if anyone's familiar with those. And then, of course, just keeping tabs on updates on like Pixelmon and stuff like that.
Definitely, definitely. Charlie, I'm trying to add you, man. I'm not sure what's going on. It keeps showing there's an error, so it may need you to leave and come back. But down to throw you that invite in a second. Fiddy, good to see you on the show,
Hey,
man. How are you?
Kate, I can't hear Pickle Rick,
Oh, okay.
so I'm gonna
Sounds
step.
good. Yeah, you're rugging on me right now too. So yeah, pop back off, and I'll bring you back up. 50, over to you, man. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me up here. Just kind of watching everything this week has been pretty interesting, and the memes have been really pushing it hard, and not many people have been talking about games, except for some of accounts you've talked to, like Elio and so a few other people, and which I follow. It's interesting because I had a meeting with one of my buddies who is a developer for Penguin Club Penguin. And as I was having dinner with him, this guy came up to me, and I have a little necklace. It's got an ApeCoin necklace. And he's like, "Are you in crypto?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I was in crypto. I had mental problems. I had to leave." Like, he said this literally in front of the guy who's a developer I'm trying to bring in here. And so
Was it Kevin Rose?
No, it wasn't Kevin Rose, but he could have been. I don't know. I didn't. He was a waiter, so I mean, very possible. But I have been, on a pursuit with gaming, and I'm not a gamer, but I do love the gaming process and everything that has to do with it. I do think it's going to be a huge thing in the space. I think it's going to do really well. But some of the takeaways I got from some of my friends that are developers, I have friends that work with Fortnite and Call of Duty, like Attila from Mutant 33. They're not happy with their jobs right now. They say the companies are difficult. People are going back and forth. People are finishing projects. Then they're leaving. They're working on different kinds of social apps. So the gaming industry is and I'm talking Web2 right now, has been a bit disrupted. I don't know if you guys know about that, but it's been a little bit of issue. And he actually asked me, he's like, "Do you know what's going on?" Because honestly, ever since I stopped working with Club Penguin, and I'm on a different thing right now. So it has been interesting. It has been really interesting. And if you look at, like, with Web3 gaming, I mean, I see a lot of things coming, but till this day, I mean, the best we've had here has been Dookie Dash. Maybe somebody will say something better, but Dookie Dash at least was a playable game. You were able to use ApeCoin for that. So it was actually functioning. Was it fun? I don't know, for about a week, until this little 18-year-old came over and kicked my ass in about 30 seconds. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I want to hear what other people have to say, and it's just a little bit of my alpha that I can share with you guys.
Yeah, my buddies in the Web2 gaming industry, like the CMOs, the marketers, the community managers, the advertisers, that kind of thing, that worked in that Web2 space for like last decade in the 2010s. A bunch of the ones that have kind of dropped off had either been laid off because there's been consolidation in the industry. B, they're not passionate about mobile games, and because the majority of revenue is mobile games, they kind of fell off for that lack of passion. Or three, there hasn't been any innovation for a lot of studios in Web2 gaming. And so for those that joined gaming because it was a fast-paced, innovative industry, in Web2 gaming, it just hasn't been that for the past 5 years. So a lot of people have kind of dropped off, moved into AI, blockchain, and other spaces because they want the fast-paced, innovative, kind of learning something new every day culture, and they're just not getting that in legacy gaming right now.
Yeah, I talked to this guy. He was the founder of D's, and he was a big mobile game app store guy, and he was like, "Yeah, a lot of games could do better if they started out with a couple smaller games just on mobile, just to get people playing games on their toilet at least. Get some kind of market share in the game, and then start to scale out from there." And I know other people who have a totally opposite perspective on how to get going. So yeah, super interesting conversation. Let's finish out these intros, and then we'll dive into some of the conversations. Shalin, over to you.
Hey, this is the Shaolin, the community manager for D-Live Games. I'm also part of the PewCast team, but my game, actually, I'm surprised I was getting into. I think has just to do with tying in lore and just the Marvel universe. But actually, I saw Marvel Rivals is going to be coming out, and I'm pretty excited about that just because I like first-person shooters. But I also, came from a Team Fortress background, so anytime you can add, playability with, something that I have a passion for and love for in terms of, ecosystem. Sorry, I have. I'll cut myself off. I have a lot of people running around.
Bro, you got a whole family. I love it. Ice, over to you.
Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Ice.
What was that?
Hello, yes, that's me.
You never heard that
warping
intro?
into this.
Oh my god.
Oh yes, you're gonna love it. But yeah, thanks for having me here, man. And my name is Ice. This panel looks like family, to be honest. I know so many of y'all already, so many familiar faces. But anyway, a quick introduction. So prior to coming into Web3, I had close to a decade of experience as a wedding videographer and producer. But then the pandemic hit, and people decided to stop getting married in public. So along with the whole social distancing and all that, I was kind of forced back to the drawing board, like many of us here, right? And had to find a way to work from home. And then 20 rabbit holes later, I found out that I can totally make a video ago about something called NFTs, which could then turn into something else called whitelists, and then that turned into thousands of dollars. And surely that lifestyle was sustainable. Fast forward 4 years later, nowadays I'm a Spaces host, I'm a streamer, I'm a voice actor, and I'm primarily creating content around Web3 games, NFT trends, and basically anything that has to do with blue hair. Anyway, a game that I'm personally looking forward to right now is actually, I'll say something different, not Shrapnel, not Nifty. I'm going to say L3E7. And that game is kind of like a Genshin Impact meets Web3. Like the gameplay looks really promising. It's got cool looking graphics. I hope it's got a good sounding soundtrack as well. It's got the anime vibes. And my whole existence right now is really to find a Web3 game that can consume me like Diablo 2, Ragnarok Online, World of Warcraft, or like MapleStory did. So that's my whole journey, and that's my whole end game goal, man. Anyway, thanks for having me here. Back to you.
The blue hair thing is legit, by the way, guys. He's not joking when he says he's obsessed with the blue hair thing.
This is true.
Dude, the blue hair is such a vibe. Also, chill. I'm seeing I have the little blue dot next to me, so I'm not sure if it's working. I guess mic check real quick. I think it's working. I was having trouble with Charlie. Is your mic working? I'll love to throw it over to you.
Hi.
Hey, okay, I can hear you.
It's supposed to be my turn. Oh, first of all, Ice, I love that Naruto intro with the sound effect. That was amazing. My background, I've actually hosted a lot of tournaments for fighting games and got sponsored by Apex to host tournaments for the Caribbean, America, and Canada. I previously dealt with esports teams and established a federation for the Bahamas and dealt with a lot of tournaments, coach players. I've done it all within gaming. Halo 3 is one of my favorite games next to Kingdom Hearts. Now, in my current mode, I'm just in Web3, just sailing through, learning as much as I can, and probably build something pretty insane to just establish myself within the Web2 and Web3 space. Because I love both, honestly. Not one isn't better than next, but I feel like Web3 is helping that next initiative. And I'm just on my same journey when it comes to ICE. The partnerships kind of fell off, whatever. And by the way, do not deactivate your account in 2 weeks. It will be deleted. I didn't know, kind of starting over. But yeah, that's my journey right now. And I'm just willing to build within Web3 and network with really great people in the space and just see the future of which is Web3.
Wait, what was the account you said?
Wait, my previous account?
No, the thing you said don't delete.
Oh, don't deactivate your Twitter account more than 2 weeks. It will be deleted. I didn't know that.
Whoa. Okay, that's some serious game right there. And last but not least, for sure not least, we have Justin up here. Good to have you, man. It's been a little minute. Super curious on what you've been up to lately.
Yo, yeah, thanks for having me here. This is a great panel. I'm really looking forward to learn how to commit Web3 fraud. Really excited for this panel. It's an amazing group of people you got here. A little bit about me. I'm the director of marketing over at Enway Games, which is a subsidiary of Animoca Brands. We launched a game last year, 1v1 fighting game called Rec League, and we have 2 games coming up. One for the Paris 2024 Olympics, where there will be a free NFT mascot pin claim. More news on that if you follow our channels. And then we also have an unannounced game that is coming up very shortly. So we're very busy over here. A little bit about myself. I've been in gaming for the last 15 years, and I've worked in Web3 gaming the last 4 at Mythical, Immutable, and now Enway. Let's get this fraud on. I'm really excited for this.
You're getting Brad Sherman pumped right now, dude.
This is like a honeypot for the FBI and investigators, this space. Good job.
Yeah, I was going to say, I definitely did have the FBI hit me up earlier, and he was like, hey, we need to make sure we get at least 15 of these people off our list of the top 20. We got to track them all down. They've been making some suspicious decisions lately, playing some suspicious games. But listen, guys, I want to say thank you so much for being in the space. If you haven't already, retweet the space. If you're on stage and you want people to be hearing your takes, retweet the space. If you're listening and you haven't followed the people on stage, please do so, because there's no way we could cover all of crypto gaming and all of the gaming world without their help. And listen, I really don't want to be jumping in between each person. I want to keep this open format. I'm for sure going to have pauses in between takes. So would love for people to hop in here, kind of round table style discussion. And I'm really, really pumped. I heard multiple people bring up Shrapnel, and then I heard about 3 or 4 other games that I haven't gotten into or heard of yet. But maybe we'd love to start off with Shrapnel. William, I think you kicked us off with that game first.
Yeah, I did, man. For those that don't know, which I mean, if you're in this space, I don't know how you know about don't know about Shrapnel, but Shrapnel is a first-person shooter extraction based style shooter. So if you played Escape from Tarkov, it's basically Web3 Escape from Tarkov with a lot more UGC elements. So there's going to be basically like map creation as well as game mode creation in the game. Pretty great game, honestly. Like they've already had a bunch of demos come out, in the STX demos that happened in the past like several months now, just letting the community kind of play around with the game. And I really love that they're building like that because they get direct feedback from the community like instantly on just like different things they're trying out. So it's like, oh, we're gonna try this out. Let us know what you think. And then like a majority of us will hate it and say, oh, well, we think you could fix it like this. And they say, oh, perfect, we'll try that out. And it usually ends up very, working out really well. So I just love that teams like that, teams that build like that, they usually make great games in the end because they really care about community feedback and whatnot. So that's pretty much why I'm so bullish on Shrapnel, is because one, I really enjoy playing the game, and two, the team behind it just they really listen and really care about what they're building.
Yeah, for me, extraction shooters are definitely not my style, and I was super frustrated in the tournament. Made top 500 though. It was fun. Oh my goodness, the abilities. I like the take that is not too slow, and I can't wait to see the new characters within the game. But Web3 gaming is just it's just so much airdrops, so much things is going on, and you have to play like almost 5 or 6 games. But at least it's suited for every single style out there. Hero shooters, extraction shooters. We're getting to a point where everything is looking good. But here we're talking about the fraud.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm so bullish on Shrapnel too, is because it's not just an extraction shooter. Like that's their main game mode, but the fact that they're going to have UGC in there makes it so like a wide variety of people will be catered to. So like they'll have people create team deathmatch maps with team deathmatch modes kind of. And like you can just like play whatever you want essentially. And if you create a map and it does really well, you'll get rewarded via Shrap tokens and whatnot, which is why I'm again super bullish on this team in this game.
Zet, I heard you also hopped into the Shrapnel conversation there. What are you looking forward to most?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to lasting more than just like a couple rounds, to be honest. I did not get too deep into Shrapnel, the first STX, so it's this time I'm looking to get a little more action, and not just getting taken out right away. I think I had like a pretty shaky controller setup. I'm gonna blame it on the controllers, but I was just getting taken out right and left from the jump. I think that like for me, one thing I've been playing heavily is Nifty Island. Something I would definitely love to talk about if we're going to talk about grinding a little bit. That's the one thing I've personally been grinding. And then if we get into mobile too, I think that that's really someone brought up mobile earlier. It's starting small with a couple games and everything. And I think that there's some groups out here, some companies in the space right now just really doing some major things that I'd love to talk about too. So, but yeah, for me, I've really been playing a lot of Nifty Island. Again, my pet hooligan. I've been playing, like I said, I dabbled with STX, but with Shrapnel. But I mean, it's just definitely goated as far as one of the games out here in the space making moves. And so I'm definitely hoping to get up there. The first time I think I was just defeated and I was like, man, I'm not even going to make even top 200. There's probably 200 people playing right now.
Yeah, and again, like the reason I like games like Nifty Island too is that you just pointed it out, man. It's like, the UGC factor. Like I think games that allow for a creative freedom are really going to succeed. Like having the community create whatever they want and having other people in the community play that game, it just adds to the longevity of that game. I mean, we've seen it with Halo. Like look how long Halo 3 was relevant for, thanks to Forge. Like it was just like it just creates so much, I don't know, just so many different varieties of different types of games and different types of things for people to do.
100%. And I think that like if you're gonna have longevity in this space, like really have lasting longevity and using the technology to its full capabilities, you have to have some level of interoperability. And I think that Nifty has just done it so excellent how they've integrated all the different communities with their NFTs, allowing people to bring in their NFTs, build their own worlds, like you're saying, their own islands, and craft it like with not only their own islands, but just all their own assets you can bring in. You can bring in your NFTs from virtually anything. And so I think that that's going to be the future for sure. We're going to see a lot more of that. But yeah, like just allowing players to kind of go and play at their speed, at their level, and at their enjoyment. I think that we're going to see a lot more of that. But that's great.
No, for sure, man, for sure. And Ice, I guess you want to tell people how you're terrible at first person shooters. This is why you're so bearish on Shrapnel.
Oh, what are you talking about? I'm fantastic. I've been sniping people left, right, and center. I'm the best sniper in the world right now. Yo.
Snowbreak does not count. By the way, we're playing this game on Steam together called Snowbreak. It's pretty fun, but that's a third person shooter, Ice. That's not a first person shooter.
Well, I just fucking found out that apparently you can like right click your controller to get into like first person view. Like who the hell needs that, right? You can just shoot people without aiming.
Not for that kind of game.
No, that's exactly how it works. You just scrub. That's why you need to use your right click.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, at least if you don't really like Extraction Z, there's some other games that kind of would be your speed. At least, that's having consistent like airdrops like BR Infinite, have some really good movement options. If you're more on the arcade speed on Conflict Citizen, right now is kind of almost like Rogue Company. I love the Rogue Company, but they treated it really bad. And that's the one thing that I hope with Web3 is that we just make sure that community is first and community will be there. Like it was, it drove into the dirt. And I want Conflict Citizen to replace that game and make sure the esports is good, like the skins and to be able to interact with the NFTs, a really easy, streamline. And that's what I love with Web3. It's getting better. Like, yeah, it's been around for a couple of years, but there's a shooting game for everyone. I don't really see much fighting games yet. Of course, we have a lot of phone games. I think people don't understand how big mobile is. I made a post about that. Like majority of the world is basically on mobile because of the accessibility. And there's some games that having some really good airdrops, like Play Love Monster, Guild of Guardian. I'm playing that right now. People might see it as an idle game, but there's a lot of tactics of it. So we're getting to a point where we're getting better with the tokenomics. Honeyland is another example. For you to even cash out is 30%, like tax. So it helps with the sustainability for the coins because a lot of video games and NFTs that I hold are kind of worthless right now. And I don't want that happen to Web2 gamers because Web2 gamers they get mad for even linking their PSN account. That just shows you something.
Wait, you did not just make a Helldivers reference, did you?
Yeah.
Bro.
No. It's more than that. It's more than that. Trust me. It's so much. If anyone wants to link anything with their email, they get mad. So that's why I shout outs to Immutable, not sponsored. You just use your email, no matter what phone or PC. You just use your email, and you don't even have to think about your wallet. Like when it gets to that point, we're on to something.
Yeah, Immutable Passport's the closest thing there is to kind of like an easy login system to bring your blockchain assets into games. It's still kind of hard because you have to do some wallet connection, which to your point, I've done some sponsorships with Web2 gamers to just test out the market, like Web2 gaming influencers, and just to test out the market and see what they're following would think about Web3 games. No mention of buying anything, no mention of NFTs, no mention of anything blockchain, just literally showing the gameplay on their channel and just saying, hey, if you think this game's cool, go click the link in the description, go check it out. I think this looks interesting. Near 100% of the comments and responses on these sponsored videos and these types of videos where Web2 gaming influencers cover Web3 games is that it's basically rat poison. And how dare you talk about NFTs? There's a near 100% rejection of anything having to do with Web3 or blockchain with traditional gamers. So there's been this narrative in the space in Web3, you just have to build great games and people will come in. That is incorrect. They hate this space, and there's going to be years of having to rebuild trust after the past metaverse boom in 2021, where they checked out the NFT space. They saw that it was a scam, and they're probably not going to reconsider it till close to the end of the decade. So whoever's building games out there, whoever's marketing to mainstream gamers, has a massive trust hurdle to get over. And unfortunately, it's kind of this tiny little industry, which is growing, versus the mainstream media. And virtually every mainstream media coverage of blockchain and of crypto and of anything in the space is that it's a scam, it's a fraud, and it's just ripe with charlatans that are trying to take your money, and it's a fad. So we've got a ways to go here in terms of being able to capture those mainstream gamers. So I think we're years out on being able to make great games and having Web2 gamers actually want to play them.
Oh, this is a perfect time for me to jump in. So one of the benefits of being part of PewCast is understanding like worldwide perception of worldwide media. I definitely disagree, mainly because that's completely westernized thinking. If you look at all the gamers that are coming out of the Philippines, the Vietnam, Russia, China, pretty much the Eastern Bloc, yeah, you can pretty much see how not only is it being proliferated by gamers and a mass, and it helps with gaming guilds, and it's happening with so many other things, but you're also seeing it's because it's mainly driven by countries that are crypto native and crypto forward thinking, right? It's not just what we're hearing today in the Western world, but like you can see where the shift is. So not only is it going towards Web3 gaming, but it's also going towards mobile gaming, which is widely accepted across so many other areas, regions, boundaries. And the fact that we're talking about decentralization, it does take the power out of the Western thought, because you can see how a lot of things are changing. Now, mind you, of course, I work for D-Live Games. It's a Korean-based company, former CEO of Nexon and Nexon Mobile. But at the same time, you're really starting to see, how this adoption is happening, how it's growing, because it's not so much like, hey, crypto, right? Blockchain. It's really about like, hey, there's an opportunity to get into gaming. This is an opportunity to get into the career, right? So you take someone like YGG, who's doing a phenomenal job. They utilize education. They're utilizing and going and doing what they call a round trip, which is like going to city by city and introducing different gamers to Web3 games, right? They have 7 different games that are going on currently in their portfolio that they're really showing and highlighting. You can see how what they're doing is actually incubating, not just incubating in terms of like gaming, but just understanding the industry as a whole. You start seeing like them creating opportunities for moderators. You start talking about content creation, and then you're also talking about competitive esports and competitive gaming, right? Going into games, getting on leaderboards, actually being rewarded and incentivized to do these things without the social five, without the airdrop, without all these things. You start doing that, and you can start seeing the possibilities and the windows of where this is going. This is happening in South America. This is happening in Eastern Europe. You're seeing it in so many different ways, which I think is important to actually have representation and understanding of how this space is moving. And I feel like so much of it is Western driven, but if anybody who comes to China, Hong Kong, Singapore 2049, Thailand, you're seeing a different narrative. And I think that's important to talk about, because who's backing all these Web3 games? You're talking about Animoca, you're talking about Merit Circle, you're talking about Newman, right? You're talking about Eastern investors and Eastern people with VCs really helping to push this, not narrative, but like just this ecosystem. I think that's super important to think about and consider when we talk about Web3 gaming.
I also kind of wanted to chime in on this. There are like some true aspects to both sides, of course. It's really just like a perspective thing. A lot of teams shot themselves in the foot early on just because, like, kind of like what Andrew was saying, there's like a trust hurdle, and really just labeling themselves as Web3 games turns so many people off. And I think what you're seeing nowadays is a lot more projects launching games with Web3 integrations, right? It's like it's a subtle difference, but such a huge difference, because it allows for the Web2 gaming communities to enter without like any sort of um, like fear, or like, thinking that they're going to be forced into this like Web3 side. They can just play the game freely. If the game's good, the game's going to get more exposure. Then there's maybe some monetary reward side to it that begins to draw more interest. But like, there were just so many teams early on shooting themselves in the foot by just trying to push this like Web3 gaming narrative that people were not trusting of. Not sure if like other people share the same opinion on that, but I think that you know, a lot of the conversations I've had with gaming projects, that's something that they know, you know, that they've learned from, and they're, you know, doing a better job of like focusing on the gaming side, you know, and not as much, you know, emphasizing like the Web3 side.
Yo, if you got a hand, feel free to hop in.
Oh, nice. I think I was next. I'll go ahead and take it. But I did want to, I guess segue from that topic. But also yes to this topic is what I recognize, or just my personal observations, is that when I was trying to get some like YouTube influencers or people that do like streaming, on board with Web3, I caught them at the point where they had already, streamed some Web3 games, and so I caught them right after, and they were really, deliberating if they can continue doing this, because a lot of the people that they would stream to, they couldn't even watch the game anymore. They instantly would have to have a comment on NFTs or Web3, and so it became a complexity for these influencers with their own community. They were starting to lose trust with their communities because people in general had a mainstream idea that NFTs equal frauds, Web3 equals frauds, and taking that same narrative. Recently I just moved away from big tech, cloud and AI services, and I was watching how they had all of these deals. I had access to a lot of deals and partnership flows, and they had a lot of cryptocurrency deals on the table, because their whole point was to try to create some sort of process where there was transparency, where things were being traveled from point A to point Z, but also trying to create this like carbon neutral tracking system. And there were great projects on the table, and all of these big companies had to pause on all of these projects because they knew they couldn't introduce something from the Web3 industry into their industry, because we had to build, and I say we because I consider all of us as part of this Web3 collective or the Web3 communities. We had to find a way to heal our narrative, or heal our name, and sort of like get past some of our earlier ways that we operated in a business. And I'm pretty sure anybody who's here, anybody that was like through the bear market, like, we actually want to be here for other reasons other than trying to, scam people. But, it's just like the fact of the matter is that a lot of people, when we were in our hype cycle, there were a lot of scams. It put a tarnish on our name, and that really sucks, but it's the way of it. And I do agree with Andrew that I do feel that it set us back a little bit. It's also unfortunate that we're still a little bit reliant on Western world adoption for certain things, and gaming is part of that ecosystem. Another thing that I will say, though, is I do think that the fix is kind of easy, in the sense that we just really need some people in our ecosystem to be wayshowers, and sort of build the infrastructure in a way where we can kind of get the best of both worlds. So we know, like from a market analysis, for instance, that we're about to like enter in a huge job issue. A lot of people are not going to be able to find jobs. And we already know from market analysis that a lot of people are looking to create, creator platforms, online platforms. They're looking into entertainment. They're looking into ways to make YouTube channels. They're looking at all these different avenues. And if we can just create another avenue for people and sort of lay the foundation, lay the groundwork, and then also show that it's a replicable plan, that also creates a way forward outside of a narrative by creating a new narrative. But I do think that we do require space. So I know for me, another thing that was brought up earlier is, I haven't really been like hype about Web2 gaming in a while. Like for instance, I'm part of a gamer family. Like me and my kids were all gamers. we game all the time together. And a lot of the games that I introduced to them are like games like that I loved growing up that were just so revolutionary for the time, like introducing like the first wave of MMORPGs and like how all of that happened and how we actually had people implanted into those games to show people how to create guilds, how to play with one another, how to make the most out of this game. Like none of that stuff happened natural and organic. Like there were people in there implanted on purpose to do those things for people, and so we would create an infrastructure for people to follow, and then once it was started, then it picks up kind of on its own. And we see that like with any new thing that's happening, there has to be somebody that creates a way or shows an infrastructure or builds the infrastructure to keep things going. So I'm still super bullish on Web3. Obviously, I love it. I do think that it's like it offers so many opportunities for people, and it actually touches on so many needs. I do think that's probably why I noticed, like, for instance, it's very much adopted in the Philippines. But it's like when you think about it, like they get so much out of the game for other reasons other than just playing. And so those are like narratives that I don't know if that really like transitions over into how we look at it from a web a mainstream perspective. Like I would still much rather like sit down with my kids and play Knights of the Old Republic or something like that with them, where they get super involved in the narrative and the gameplay is
Man,
easy. But yeah, that was a lot of thoughts, but I'll step down and let somebody else talk.
that was amazing.
Yeah, we have a few hands here. Would love to run through them. Justin, I saw your hand first though.
Yeah, really good conversations around like what's needed in the space and where it's going, and also kind of circling back to the really good discussion around like Western ideology, or Western perception versus global perception of Web3 game, because I think that is a really important part of this discussion. And I mean, I think if we look historically kind of at like free, where we were, this happened once before in free to play games and mobile games. Mobile games are only really just starting to get a foothold in the last 5 years or so in Western markets, and especially in North America. I think that has been sort of like a long road for mobile games to kind of get a foothold. Free to play games found a foothold with Fortnite, but it took a while, and uh, Asian countries and Southeast Asia definitely sort of led the way on those fronts for sure. And I think they're leading the way again with Web3. And I do see, some companies starting to try and dabble in it, and they have over time, right? Like you look at Ubisoft, they have a whole team dedicated to this. They have there's rumors that the next GTA might have some kind of NFT or cryptocurrency integrated into it. And I think it's going to take some time for sure. Andrew mentioned the 2021 vibes, and it really went from like cryptocurrency and NFTs are the revolution of our times to very shortly after that to being cryptocurrency and NFTs are the scam of the century. And a lot of the content creators jumping into the space, not really understanding how cryptocurrency works, and getting scammed or scamming others was really a big part of that. So there is a little bit of damage to unwind, but I don't think it's going to take another 7 years or 6 years for us to get to a point where it is finding a foothold. I just think it's going to take a little bit. I think certainly in the U.S. it is probably going to take that amount of time. But again, this next generation alpha, which I absolutely fucking hate that name.
Wait, there's no way. Is it actually Generation Alpha next?
It's Generation Alpha because it goes
Oh,
ZA,
of course.
Gen
Yep.
ZA.
I thought it was
So
beta.
so
Do they have like? Do they all have like the Chad faces when they're born? Do they have,
Oh
like,
yeah, oh
the
yeah.
super
It's
awesome
just the
Chad faces?
generation of Chads. Is they're going to be the Giga Chad generation
They
who
have all
are
the
going to be
funk
aping
music
into
playing when
these
they're born.
NFTs.
All the funk music starts playing when they walk into a room.
Yeah, exactly. I will say my nephews, I don't have kids, but my nephews are Generation A. I think it's like up to age 13 now or something like that. But they're absolute giga alphas, giga Chad alphas. They are, they're just gonna be the worst fucking people in the world.
Is that the iPod kids, right?
No, that's so awful. Don't say that.
Oh, my brother and sister-in-law are not listening. So, but I feel that generation coming to life with there's cryptocurrency, there's NFTs. They're part of it's part of a digital experience in life they're growing up with. So I think there's a lot to be said about this younger generation.
Man, bunch of stuff there. Bunch of stuff there. This is a recorded space, Justin. So you may need to disclose this to those people.
Listen, I love my nephews, but they're also giant assholes. So that's okay.
I can't remember who was first here. I don't know if it was
Or
Zed
is
or
Andrew?
Andrew. Okay, we'll go to Andrew
I
first.
had my hand up, but I kind of put it down. But Andrew is next.
Yeah, Andrew.
Cool,
over to you.
thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to, on the Asia versus Western markets thing, that absolutely makes sense. The adoption before free to play actually happened because of League of Legends in the West. That was the breakthrough game there. Fortnite broke through with the Battle Pass model, so it's the kind of the freemium model. And mobile gaming obviously broke through in the East first and then came to the West. So 100% East is early adopters on technology, and then West adopts it later. So when does the West adopt? Basically, we have to have a game come out, be a smash success, make revenue in the hundreds of millions of US dollars amount. And then all of the traditional studios will basically copy paste their business model into their existing game franchises and then pile in. But they need that business model proving out as an indicator that this is something that's sustainable and something that can basically fund a traditional business with a traditional profit model. So far, we haven't seen that. So in the 2021 metaverse boom, we saw a lot of people spending a lot of money on things like land and Decentraland or Sandbox. We saw a lot of NFT sales occur, and there was revenue in the hundreds of millions of dollars for sure. But unfortunately, those game universes collapsed. 90% plus of the users left, and then the value of those assets decreased significantly. And those companies or those DAOs or those projects were unable to show that they can generate a sustainable revenue to pay for their service on an ongoing basis. So now they're in the loss leader status. So you just need one studio to make one game that is a profitable business model using Web3, and all the other dominoes fall in place. So the question is, can such a game exist strictly by tapping into early adopting markets like Philippines? Can that market generate that level of revenue and prove it out for everyone else? The answer is I don't know, and I don't think so. I think they're going to need a multi-market approach. I think that they can get a lot of users in the Philippines, for example, that are interested in play to earn type mechanics, but they aren't going to bring in the big dollars because their currency isn't as valuable as other Western nation currencies. And also the Western nations are going to want to see Western nation adoption, at least on some level, so that their business can feel comfortable entering that new business model. So we just need one winner. That's it. And then all the dominoes fall. So my question to all of you here is, do you see anything in the space right now that you think could be that winner? The reason why I joined Illuvium and worked with them for 3 years to help them with marketing is I thought they were maybe one of the top 10 game franchises that could be that winner, but we have yet to see that winner come to the front. Curious to know what you guys think about that. Do you see something that's a winner, or is it going to be a sleeper that nobody's talking about?
Fiddy, you want to go next, or
I think we had Zed's hand first.
Okay, well, I'm
But
gonna go
yeah,
answer your question, Andrew, with a question, not to totally derail us. There's a ton of really great takes here. I want to propose a question as sort of a thought experiment. Is Donald Trump a fraud? Okay, wait. Now maybe that's not the right question, but how quickly the tables can change. When Trump was president, he was Bitcoin was the scourge, crypto was the scourge. It was the enemy of standard traditional money of fiat, and now he's running his campaign on Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana. He's on the bandwagon, and so how quickly the narratives can change. Just like today, what's going on in politics with crypto. It's crazy to see the shift. Our government it's like as bipolar as we are here in Web3, it seems.
Well, just to be fair and I don't want to make it a politics discussion, so I'll kind of step a level above that and just look at this strictly from a narrative standpoint. That narrative with Trump was in place in the media for 6 years, and then it's still here today, right? So the attack never stopped with that narrative, in terms of that person. And so I don't foresee the attack stopping on crypto and NFTs in this space. At least for a few more years. The attack really started about 3.5, 4 years ago. So once again, there's a lot of people that still trust mainstream narratives and their blogs and TV coverage and kind of what they view as a trusted media outlet to understand new technologies. And I don't see those outlets embracing this space anytime soon.
But to go off of what you said, piggybacking off of what you said, like definitely all it takes is one real winner to come through and everyone to see that and then just copycat that. And I definitely think that we're going to see that. And I feel like we'll see it sooner than later. All it takes is everyone to see, a bunch of young 20-something-year-olds or 15-year-old make $1 million off of playing some game because they love the game. And the game being an absolute hit. And then you start to see that just being implemented across the board. And someone else, I'm not sure who mentioned it, but mentioned earlier that there's a shakedown happening in Web2 gaming. And I have heard that there is kind of a shakedown happening in the industry and that there's somewhat of a flight to Web3 gaming right now because they're seeing what's happening. So I think that, we are seeing a lot of really bullish indicators, for the future.
Speaking of bullish indicators, the Fit 21 bill just passed the House.
What? Really?
Yeah, just passed the House. It's probably going to get denied in the Senate. That's what people are thinking. But yeah, Fit 21 just passed the House.
Bro, W. We'll take the win. That's awesome. Thanks for the update, William. Chill, go over to you.
Yeah, I just want to kind of to talk about what Zed and Andrew is talking about. I do agree on both sides with the both saying. I think the Western world gamers, like go on Twitch and just see how people react to certain stuff, and like I go to locals for fighting games and sometimes shooting games and talk to these people about it, and they're like, "You're into crypto?" No, but when you actually explain it to them, like the reasoning behind, you know, I can't really what is weird. I have to start with finances and show them banking because I did banking for 8 years as well, and I had to show them the benefits of like DeFi and how that works. And when they understand DeFi, I kind of showed them, all right, you see how this works now, apply it to gaming, and then they're like, oh, and they seem like they were a little bit more interested in it, and I don't even think it's going to be a studio. I think all it takes is one big influencer. I don't think people understand how these persons on Twitch, like let's just say, I'm gonna name one of the biggest like Twitch streamers right now. I'm gonna say Summit 1G. If Summit 1G says, I like Nyan Heroes, that game will absolutely explode. It only takes one of them to say it. The game doesn't even have to be that good. And by the way, there is a lot of gaming content creators that make content for free via Garena and also PUBG Mobile that are absolutely huge, that have esports teams in NA. It might not be as popular. Mobile is more popular on the other side because it's more accessible. But as soon as an influencer say it on this side that this is good, or NFTs or crypto not a scam, it's over. This area would explode for Web3 gaming. But it's coming in slowly. We've been seeing content creators coming in, and they're getting kind of respected by their community because they build that relationship with the community. So they trust them to make rational decisions so they don't get burnt by it. And I think so many bad apples have made this industry look so bad over time. It's hard for people to trust. So if people barely could understand banking, since I was in it for so long, they don't even understand the difference between a high yield savings account, a checking, and savings. And that's big, like bare minimum financial literacy. Now you got to tell them to go across the whole universe of crypto and understand the technology and bridging and all this stuff. Nah, I'm straight. I'm trying to press on and game go burr and I have fun. Like that's just how things are going to be. But I don't think we have enough pillars to really show what Web3 is about in like an honest sense, not just trying to shield somebody or make anyone extra liquidity. We're just trying to make sure that, hey, this is promising. We're going to get some benefits. And I think crypto gaming is getting to a point for me, like watching from the outside and also loving Web2 games because I play both. I enjoy both. But the fact that I could passively make money and I don't have to make technically YouTube content or stream and in the comfort of my home, I feel like there's a lot of people that are absolutely insane, like with League of Legends and Overwatch, but they don't stream or anything. They're absolute monsters though. But to get paid for it as well, that's phenomenal. And I am totally for it. So you get paid no matter what aspect you care about in gaming. And I think I love that next stage.
Definitely, definitely. Also, I was going to say we have just a couple minutes here. We'd love to get Pickle Rick and challenge some takes in here. See if they want to bring up any games or if anything that that we've been talking about the last few minutes piques their interest.
Shalin, did you want to go? I mean, I kind of, Shalin and I kind of, chipped in earlier on the discussion on like Web3 narrative. I know Shalin brought up like the Eastern versus Western side, and I kind of got more into like perspective on Web3 gaming. But yeah, I mean, I did see I see a lot of people in like Telegram group chats and stuff talking about like the recent House, you know, House versus Senate, how this is all going to be treated. But yeah, I think it is still a step in the right direction, and just getting more eyes on it and more people continuing to push stuff like Trump's campaign involving crypto. I know obviously that's going to just push more of like the shitcoin side as well, but a lot of the coins, a lot of gaming projects still involve tokens and stuff like that. So as long as the token side keeps moving, that side is always going to be popular, even though pre-sales have sort of started. I'm not sure what people's opinions are on pre-sales currently. I know that they're less interested in investing because VCs tend to get the early rounds, and people are scared of getting dumped on. But I guess it's just finding the next like investment up, the next big idea for early investment into a project without fears of you know kind of being the smaller fish in a bigger pond.
Yeah, true. Nice.
Yo, so yeah, Rick, yeah, if I'm down for all the pre-sales as long as they're free mints, and as long as they're not drainers, right? Just hook me up with all that shit. But yeah, sorry, I was kind of distracted. I was busy killing a big ass dragon earlier. That's why I wasn't really involved in the conversation. But I'm back, and I heard a bunch of stuff that actually, I believe it was Chill, Andrew, and Rick. You guys were talking about kind of like the whole convincing thing, like the trust issue that has been created, this weird dissonance that has been established between Web 2 and Web 3, right? And I think it comes down to a lot of perspectives. I think it comes down to a lot of the consumer's current life situation. So like if we zoom out a little bit, like the entire stigma attached to Web 3 gaming, at least in the minds of Web 2 gamers, is because of the narrative that they were exposed to during the whole metaverse buzzword boom era in 2021, right? And the model in most Web3 and NFTs in general back then was basically this. NFT and Web3 games, it's all about you pay first and then you hope you like it. And if you don't, then you can sell it for a profit or maybe some money back, right? But in the traditional gaming sense, it's you play first, especially free to play games. You play first, and if you like it, then you can spend money in order to enrich that experience. So these are all very similar like protocols, but at the end of the tunnel, in the traditional sense, spending money is a choice to enrich the experience. But in the Web3 sense, spending money became a prerequisite to access the game, right? And this is why there's so much like hatred upon this, I feel, because the fact that the space had so many scams back then, most gamers, they wouldn't even bother taking the financial risk to try this like style of gaming because they were there for leisure. They don't give a damn about like earning stuff until they learn more about the whole PTE thing. But I think this is where the second part of the discussion is, and I think this is the problem, to be honest, because blockchain gaming as an income, it has to be equal, if not more, than what you can earn from a 9 to 5 to truly justify it. And I get it, like you can do it on leisure and all that, but if you choose to earn money, like if you choose to earn money on your leisure time, then I'm sure there's other ways you can do it as well, right? But I think it was Andrew and Chill talking about, or no, sorry, Shaolin talking about like the whole like Asia versus NA perspective on things earlier. And this is where I see this happening in full effect because most of us, if we do a 9 to 5 in the North American area, we'll probably earn a decent wage. I don't know, I'm not throwing numbers out there, but comparatively to somewhere in the Philippines, if you were to work 9 to 5 in the Philippines, the amount that you're getting in US dollar conversion is nowhere near the minimum wage that you can get as a North American working here, right? So because of this difference, a lot of like our folks in the Philippines, they prioritize a lot of their time and efforts in games that can allow them to earn because comparatively speaking, they can work from home, they can work anywhere on the toilet, and it makes more than busting ass 9 to 5, like actually in their local area. And that was huge, right? And at least for us here, and that's like actively living and working in North America, there is this mentality amongst streamers that this, and the saying goes, which is if you're going to stream for income, then don't do it. And right, because like the whole idea is that you want to stream strategically to have fun. And if you start streaming for income, the reality is that you probably won't make anything, and then you're going to burn out, and then you're going to hate your life. And the reason I think this obstacle is the reason why Web2 gamers have such a strong hatred and spite towards blockchain and NFTs is because at the surface level, they associate Web3 gaming with PTE and also scams. In other words, they don't want to dabble with PTE if the financial entry is too high or if they have a chance of getting scammed at all. Because if they wanted to earn anything, they are perfectly happy with their 9 to 5s. So the risk is inherently not a part of their system. And plugging that risk into their lives would actually ruin or negatively impact their lifestyle in a negative way. So anyways, just to wrap things up here, I think from what I've heard everybody discuss, and like kind of going back to Andrew's original question, like what can we really do to regain their trust, right? I think maybe I'm oversimplifying this, but right now I see three major parts. Number one, we need to offer a game that is truly comparable to the leisure sense of what Web2 gaming has already established. And number two, if it's going to be PTE, we need to make the earning model something that can be plugged into their lifestyle very seamlessly. And thirdly, the earning portion, it needs to rival, if not exceed, the amount of money that these guys can make in a 9 to 5. And currently, in my eyes right now, no game has done this yet. But I mean, Axie came close as hell, right? And bearing in mind that they kind of broke the mold because, again, Philippines, their wage is not that high, so they can really go all out and utilizing that. And another bit that's interesting to touch upon is that Axie Infinity and other blockchain games, it does not require hardcore internet. I cannot play a competitive like an esports game using bad internet. And then in the Philippines, internet is a commodity much to be desired. A lot of our folks in the Philippines have poor internet connection. And that is why games like Ragnarok, games like Axie, games that don't require good internet became such a huge thing for them. But anyway, in my eyes, that's kind of how it is. And then in my opinion, for this to truly take off into space, we would need a project that hits all three of these pillars for everyone around the world and not just the Philippines.
Dang, bro. That was lit. I really enjoyed listening to that, Ice. Really appreciate that take. Listen, we usually try to wrap up around the hour. There's a couple of hands here, so I'm down to keep going for a few minutes. But I know for some people they got to bounce at the hour. So I just want to first say thank you so much for everyone who was on stage and everybody who was pitching into the conversation. I've had a great time so far. We're gonna go on for a few more minutes and get through the rest of these hands and finish out this convo. But seriously, thank you so much for everybody who's on stage. If you haven't already, follow those people and retweet the space if you're enjoying it. Otherwise, let me, Shal, I know you had a hand up a second ago and you put it down. And then, Fiddy, I know you had to pop out and you may have to leave in a second. And then would love to go over to Chill, and then we'll wrap the show up.
Yeah, no, thank you. I actually got rugged really hard. I just got a notice on my thing that my Wi-Fi went down and they fixed it immediately. So I was like, oh, thank God. But the last time I was when I was here, I was listening to somebody talking about Trump, so I wanted to touch on that, which is an interesting topic, and I don't know where you guys left off and how you're talking about it. And they said, "Is he a fraud?" And at this point, I don't really care whether he is or he's not. At this point, if it helps crypto, God bless him. Does that make sense? Because if you notice, Robert, whatever Kennedy started saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy GameStop," and now Biden's approving things. So at the end of the day, most of these guys are a little bit old to be in that office. They should. I'd like to have a younger candidate. I'm not going to lie about that. But at the end of the day, like whoever pushes crypto through, that's going to benefit most of it. It's going to benefit gaming. It's going to benefit everything in the space. So whether they're frauds or not, I mean, people have been using false tactics to win. So COVID, abortions, whether they flip sides on it or not. So I'm just kind of saying I'm going to go pro whoever's going to get crypto in mass adoption.
Apes are strong together, 50. Apes are strong together.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now it's not apes. It might be kittens are strong together. I don't know. I might have to. I might have to get a furry kitty like the.
I actually had a double take when I saw the poster on his official Twitter account. I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "No way, dude! He must have got hacked." And I was like, "No!" And then it was legit. Oh man.
And it's a good thing. It's a good thing for all of us. Like at the end of the day, like you'll see these guys probably lowering gas, bringing down rates. Use the stuff to benefit your lives. That's what I say. Because look, this is a very big game that's played by not even the presidents, not even the country. There's people, the Rothschilds, whatever else. I mean, I can go deep into conspiracies, but at the end of the day, if it benefits us, your families, or gaming, or crypto, whatever you're into, it's a bullish thing for the space. That's kind of how I look at it.
Web3 gaming, am I right? Web3 gaming.
Well, here, let me ask you a question before I need to wrap this up because I didn't hear what people are saying. On the Web3 gaming, has anybody seen anything in Web3 gaming? Because we all talk about it. I do believe Web3 gaming will be the future here, but have we seen anything that has that potential in the next 12 months?
In the next, I honestly, for me, I think the three closest games thus far have to be Nyan Heroes, Parallel, and Shrapnel. Because I could be real with you, X Defiant came out recently, and people are trashing on that game. Some people like it, some people are like, this is the most boring thing. And I guarantee you, there are some games right now in Web3 that are killing Web2, and they're releasing with like 500 million budget, and they're trash. So I think Web3 is going to be in a great space. And there's something else that I said earlier. People don't realize that there's a lot of persons who travel the world, like, especially for me, who like travel for like fighting games and stuff. They do it for bragging rights. They don't even do it for money. They just happy to just play the game that they love and possibly get paid by it. It's the art, like that's one thing people need to understand. Like for people who also play Melee, like look at Mango, one of the best players for Melee. They was playing for almost 15 years for no money and just medals and bragging rights. So when you want to convince people that, hey, you want to get paid for this, they don't even care about this in the first place. And they have to go through these loopholes just to even get paid. They just prefer to just open up their file and the game is ready to go. So that was just piggybacking on what Ice was saying. And also with the politics, I'm from a different country. I'm from the Bahamas, by the way. But I'm in America now. So with this whole policies changing, that's gonna expedite everything in crypto because all of those small little Caribbean countries and maybe South America even more would just every other country would on this side would follow America. And if they do that, it's game for us because we're pivoting ourselves in a really bullish market and we're gonna do great. So if we're here, I don't like saying it, but I talk to the common folks. We're still kind of early, and that's me coming in later than probably majority of you on this panel.
Bro, I'm so
Wolf,
happy there's
actually-
another melee player in the space. Oh, sorry, bro. I was just gonna say, like, I'm so happy there's another melee player in the space because you brought up Mango.
Melee? You say melee?
Shut up, dude. But
guys, he's Canadian. Let's give him a break. He's Canadian.
I am from Canada, but yeah, like, dude, look at AMSA, man. Like AMSA, I don't know if anyone knows about it. I'm sure you do, Chill. But this guy's been playing Yoshi at like low tier for years. He's won nothing And this guy has like a full-time job where he commutes 2 hours to get to work, works for like 10, 12 hours in Japan, and then commutes 2 hours to come back. It's like 9 or 10 p.m. And then this guy grinds Melee, to improve his skills. And all of this stuff is it's basically volunteer, right? He's doing it out of a passion. So in other words, if these people across the world, they really want to make money, there's other ways for them to make money, because their mentality comes down to money and work and family first, and then their leisure comes afterwards, right? So it's really weird how like the North Americans and the Asians, like the priorities and the way they think, it's so different. But when it comes down to it, like that competitive nature in like competitive gaming, it burns strong no matter which region we're in. So I forgot who said this before, but they brought up esports. I really do think competitive gaming and esports is definitely an avenue for Web 2 and Web 3 gaming to come together.
And that's what I was saying earlier. I agree. But you, Pickle.
Oh yeah, no, I wanted to tie in what you were saying, Chill, with what, with Wolf's question, because I don't know what's like, gonna be the game for the, within the next 12 months, but you brought up X Defiant. I was actually thinking about bringing that up too. Like, lots of people played the alpha, the beta, or whatever. It seemed like a pretty simple, straightforward game. Nothing too crazy. Graphics, not anything special. Didn't really have like a super competitive, like, no, esports competitive aspect. But like, the game drops and just like everyone's playing it. It's just new content. You've got like, Dr. Disrespect on it right now, like with like, 10,000 viewers probably, or some maybe more. And it's like, I think that's, what gaming and Web3 needs to get to in order to, get to that next level, is like people wanting to play it just for the content. And when we get to that stage, that's when it's like we'll really hit like mass adoption. There'll be the gamers playing it just for the gaming, the Web3 audience playing it because of, maybe some earning aspect to it, but also, just because of, the content opportunities that it could provide.
And one last thing, Wolf, that I glad that what Pickle say, the most important thing that I've noticed in this realm, we don't have a character that we could say, oh, that's the GOAT. You know what I mean? Like Genji from Overwatch, or maybe Lucian or Annie from League of Legends. Or you know what I mean? There's so much characters that you can name in Web 2. And I can't even name one character in Web 3. Not one. I don't know if anyone else on the panel can name one. I can't. And people love to be enticed by stories. Like, look how big Arcane is for League of Legends. Look at, all of these different dynamics that's needed. There's nothing, I don't think I've seen a crazy meme, because memes are necessary. You can make memes for CSGO, you can make memes for any single particular game, even for single player. Look at the amount of memes for Elden Ring. I have not seen one meme for Web3. And these are the dynamics that are needed for it to push to that next level. There's just so much things. There's a long list, but that is majority story, memify, good gameplay, your biggest influencer, say, yo, this is good, game over. But until then, I think just those three are just good for people to grind and play for now. That's the closest, that have tokenomics good, that has good gameplay loop, and just looks good.
And that is like, I think that's the last thing I did want to touch on, is that was a great point, Chill, is there is like, Pudgy Penguins is like, very memeable, and like that's like maybe the only thing in Web3 that, you see Web2 people, like my girlfriend fucking sends me a gif of a Pudgy Penguin. She has no idea what the hell a Pudgy Penguin is, but like that, you want Web2 gamers to be like sending, games with Web3, integration, or Web3 games to each other. Like, we haven't hit that point yet. Like, so I guess, obviously Pudgy Penguins is doing something right. But maybe that's the next step that, these gaming projects need to be taking, is like, how do they, they push their marketing into Web 2, so that Web 2 people are just sharing with each other this, these new products.
I grinded on or I twerked on rather on a Kevin at NFT NYC this year. So so I guess that's a pretty good meme, right? And she turned out to be a hot blonde chick too. So whatever she's doing, I'm gonna put all my baskets in Pixelmon.
I should definitely post that. Like, I need to really post that footage again.
And I'm glad you said meet Kevin. I think that is the. I've heard every single person say that for Web3. I need to do more research. My bad. I need to do better in Web3. But I think, like you said, everyone has said that particular character. So at least we have one. But for
He's a famous
competitive,
one for sure.
If Kevin
yeah.
grinded you, you have good luck for 3 years in Web3.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I love, man. I love the fact that when it comes to the point where Web3 and Web2 blend so much and you can't even see the difference, I think the game it will be changed. And no matter what industry you're in, from gaming and all this other stuff, because us ourselves are here because we love investing, we love money, we love video games, and we love that dynamics with that. Because I know a lot of us probably was here. I was in the MMORPG stage of my life with RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2. That era was phenomenal. I'm waiting for that to come to Web 3. When that happens, my life is over. You will never see me play another game again.
Zed, I saw your hand up a second ago. Would love to give you the last take here before we close up if you still had something to say.
Oh man, that's probably a mistake giving me the last take. I was just gonna apologize, bringing politics into the whole conversation. Really, I was just trying to say that the narratives shift quickly, or they can, and that the politicians they flip flop like we do here in Web3. We're back, baby. We're so back. We're back to work at Walmart or McDonald's or whatever. So, that I was just making a joke there. But no, I appreciate you having me and all of the goated guests here today. It's just been a phenomenal conversation. So I think that no matter how you cut it, the next 6 months, the next year is going to be a wild ride here. And if you're here, there's so much room for opportunity, so much room to grow as a person. However you want to do that, whatever you're trying to do in this space. So I just think it's really exciting to be here because we are early to whatever is going to be, you know what I mean? So again, thanks for having me a part of this amazing space.
Had a great time. Thank you so much for everyone who's here. A few people have popped off in the last little bit. We went a little bit over, but couldn't help myself, bro. Couldn't help myself. So, William, Ice, Pickle Rigs, Zet, Chill. Everyone's up here right now. Thank you so much. Everyone who's listening, really appreciate you guys spending your Wednesday with us while we chatted games. Is it a fraud, bro? We confirm the answer is yes, 100%. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Yeah, man. Hit the retweet button on this space if you enjoyed it. Follow all the speakers. We'll see y'all later. Take care.
Thanks, Cade.